Hey everybody, it's James Vaguely here. Welcome to another episode of the MBA podcast. And it's case study time to round out the month. And we've been talking this month about an area of the mortgage business blueprint that we developed a number of years ago called called Elevate Visibility. How to become known by more people, more partners, because we need to be known by more people if we want to have more opportunities and more people to talk to grow our business, right? So it's a core piece of the puzzle, Ash. So number one, I have Ash with me, as always, in the other corner. How are you today?
Well, it wouldn't be a podcast if you were just talking to yourself, James. Maybe it would be. I am good. Number one, I'm really good. And how are you?
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, indeed.
Looking forward to this. I think it's just such an underserved or unutilized part of the strategic blueprint for many brokers. Um, I'm so glad that we focused on this the last few weeks. And yeah, looking forward to sort of giving a bit of a wrap up today.
I agree. Yeah, I think I said this in one of the episodes, didn't we, around the fact that this is an underutilized strategy. We're so focused on being great brokers and providing great customer services and having a good workflow to deliver a good product. But not many brokers at all are actually focused on how do I stand out, build celebrity, elevate my visibility so I can actually get more opportunities through. So I think it's massively underserved and undertaught. We have a lot of people building businesses, building capacity, they're hiring team, they're systemizing, templatizing, they're doing all sorts of things, but then they struggle with the front end. Ash, I'm sure you would know, we don't need to name any names. There are businesses that have expanded and grown, not our members, but ones we've heard about. They bring on brokers, they bring on team, they grow and expand. And then they get to the point where they go, well, we've got to fill this thing now. We've got to get more people in the door. And then they don't know kind of what to do. So they go and waste a bunch of money on buying leads and digital marketing and things that often lose them a ton of money. So this is a key strategy, and I love talking about it.
Yeah. And something that's implicit in what you just said is that a lot of broker business owners in that position haven't built their business effectively. And by that I mean they're still trapped in the business. They're still the center of the activity, i.e., they're still doing all the business. So even though or even when this strategy emerges as viable and logical, they don't have the time to devote to it, let alone the skill set or the process, because they're already working 60 hours a week. How can I possibly free myself up to do this stuff?
So true. So true. Listeners, brokers, friends, today's a case study. It's titled Building Celebrity Status. And if you haven't listened to the last 3 episodes, well, you should, because if your first question is, oh, I don't want to become a celebrity, why would I want to do that? Well, please go and listen to the other few episodes, because if you're not building your credibility and celebrity, how are you standing out? How are you attracting partners and leads over every 1,000 other brokers that are in your neighborhood, right? So when we say case study, we want to talk about real world examples, things that we've done personally as brokers in the past, things we're doing right now in our business, things our members are doing right now in their business to help build their celebrity status. So we want to touch on things like, how do we build this? Why should you do it? And various things. So I'm happy just to dive straight into it, Ash. Let's do the why first, very briefly, just to recap on the last few episodes. Number one, why should I build a celebrity status?
Well, you mentioned the answer in part earlier, James. Celebrity, whether you agree or not, from a perception perspective, celebrity equals credibility. Think about it. Like the more well-known a broker is, whether they're as competent or as you or not, the celebrity status in the eye of the public and other stakeholders equals they're more credible. Otherwise, why would they be a celebrity? People people associate credibility with celebrity, rightly or wrongly. So you want to play in that space, right? Right. And from the one of our core foundational modules and beliefs, James, is of course one to many. And why spend 100 hours of your time trying to speak to 100 people when you can speak to 100 people with 1 hour of your time? You can only do that if you're speaking to many people at the one time. So it has all of these implicit, powerful flow through outcomes that build your credibility, build your celebrity status, build your awareness in the market, attract more people, convert more people that otherwise might equivocate about choosing you. So it has all these very powerful flow through benefits to help you, guess what? Achieve your ultimate aim, which is to grow a more valuable, more profitable, more saleable business.
Yep. Yeah, that's perfect. Listeners, I hope that resonates and rings true, because that's essentially why you should do this. As I said at the start, we're all building businesses. It's a core strategy. So let's get into some of the how. There's two ways to build celebrity status. So, and we'll talk about both briefly, and then we'll get into some more detailed case studies about what we've done personally and some of our clients. So, two ways to build celebrity status. Number one, well, you can earn it. And number two, you can manufacture it. So there's two different strategies at play here. A lot of people go, I'm not a celebrity, like I'm not the best broker in the country. I don't write the most volume, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's ways to earn celebrity because you are you're the broker that's been in the industry the longest, 60 years, 20, like you can earn it through tenure. You can earn it because you write the most volume, you have the biggest business, got a massive loan book, you can earn it. You can be tested amongst the other 10,000 mortgage brokers in your area. You take a test on loans and policy and strategy and flow, and you tick more boxes and you get a higher score than anybody else. You're the most knowledgeable broker, right? These are ways we can earn it, aren't they, Ash? You can physically earn celebrity by actually being the best. Like, let's talk about Olympians. Now, pick an Olympian in your own mind, everybody. Like that person in your mind, they're a celebrity because they're the best. They're the fastest. Usain Bolt, fastest dude in the world, celebrity. He didn't have to manufacture it. He earned it. He ran the fastest, got the gold medal, many of them, to show for it. Before we talk about the manufacturing version, Ash, is there anything I've missed on earning celebrity?
Well, there's an implicit learning. It's a really powerful insight that if you only get celebrity status through earning it, it's a zero-sum game. There can only be one winner. To quote, I forget what's the name of the movie. There can only be one. Anyway, when you've got to earn something, there's only one gold medalist. There's only one premiership winner. There's only one medal winner, right? And there's a huge amount of prestige and influence and celebrity status that comes from being that one team or person. Great. However, there can only ever be one. So why play in a game only where it's purely earned based? So a lot of brokers allow this to defeat them. Oh, I haven't earned it yet, therefore I don't deserve it. What we live, though, is in a world, particularly with the interconnectedness of the world, social media, that you can manufacture your own celebrity status. This is the voice that we all have. And I know you're going to talk about it now, but it's so powerful to accept this shift in your thinking. Still earn it, right? There'll be things that come along that are a byproduct of earning it. They're the awards you win that you don't necessarily go looking for, right? They come looking for you, right? So to speak, because of what you've achieved, right? The celebrity status that I think everyone's got within their grasp is the one that you can manufacture effectively for yourself.
Definitely. Yeah. I love that. That's it. Kind of where we were going exactly, Ash, in that, you can earn it, but it's very, very difficult. It's long, it's slow, it's hard, and there's only number one. There was only one first person on the moon. And, you challenge anybody to try and remember who the second person to set foot on the moon was, but every person on Earth knows who the first was. So we want to focus on manufacturing, not earning. And again, what we've talked about this month, Ash, in that most brokers are actually focused on earning it. Like they're focused on getting more certificates and more accreditations and more notches in the belt. I can help with more types of loans. I'm more accredited. I'm more knowledgeable. People kind of don't care about that, unfortunately. It's an unfortunate truth. So we want to focus on manufacturing celebrity. So here's the question, I guess, for everybody listening, in that, what traits do celebrities have? You know, if you think about celebrities that you know or follow online, or just someone that you see as a high profile celebrity, you know, like, what do you think about them? You know, what traits do they have? What do you think about them? Well, I know, for example, if I think about celebrities, there's a certain perception about who they are, how they dress, what they stand for. There's also a perceived boundary or gap. I can't just call them. I can't just knock on their door, run around to their house, show up and say, hey, I'd like to meet you. Like, you can't get to celebrities very easily. They are often publishing books. They're often interviewed on TV, on the radio, things like that. They often have a prefabricated voice, visual personality. Don't you think, Ash? Most personalities and celebrities have a look. There's a look, there's their hair, there's what they wear, there's what they say. And all of that is pretty consistent. Is there anything you'd add to things that you think about and notice when you think about high profile celebrities?
Yeah, they have a carefully curated image. And I want to point out something too, James, here, that when I use the words curated image, I don't want anyone to think for a second that they're not being themselves, because we speak a lot about authenticity and being yourself. And that's something that I notice, particularly with the celebrities or the influential people that I am interested in. It's the ones that are authentic and they're themselves, and they show up as themselves, and they talk about things that they have knowledge about. I'm personally not interested in, people that pretend to talk about subject matter over which they don't really have expertise. They're casting opinions. That's your influencers on social media, that are casting opinions about everything, under the sun. Not interested, right? Speak about what you know about, right? Be authentic about what you know about. So that's something that I know, and I think that's something that is a takeaway for every single one of our listeners, is you all have knowledge and skills and a story that you can speak to and build celebrity on. And if you show up as yourself, last word, if you show up as yourself under pressure, you know that you'll get it right. I think the problem is, for a lot of people, when they start showing up as someone they're not, it becomes really hard work. And you've got to remember how you showed up last time, so you show up the same way this time. When you show up as yourself, guess what? It's not hard. You're just being yourself. It makes it so much easier. And not to mention, people relate to real people much better, which is an interesting paradox. People relate to authenticity much better, but at the same token, it builds this desire to have connection with you. How often do we see in the media, right? Someone relatively famous we know dies. We've never met them. We don't know them. We don't, we have no connection to them, and yet we feel grief for their loss. Why do we feel grief for the loss of a celebrity that we've never met?
Because you feel like you know them, because
Correct.
they're authentic. I love that you brought that up, Ash, because we can talk about strategies in a moment, quick hacks, things we've done, things our members have done to build the celebrity status. But underlying all of that, of course, is, well, you've got to be yourself. Like, that's what people are drawn to. People are drawn to people that are different, unique, and themselves. Not being different and unique for the sake of putting on a Hawaiian shirt when everyone's wearing black, but wearing a Hawaiian shirt because you want to wear a Hawaiian shirt even when everyone's wearing black. You're not doing it because you want to stand out. So that's the difference between standing out for the purpose of standing out and building celebrity through just who you are. Some of the things that we've done, Ash, some of the things that our members might have done, some things that our listeners can take on board about how to manufacture celebrity. So thinking about what I mentioned a minute ago, listeners, in that when you think about a celebrity, what do you think about? It's, as Ash said, curated, like personality, style, visual. That's something you can easily do. You know, how are you going to show up in your business, yourself, and your brand? What are you going to wear? How are you going to present yourself? You know, how are you going to keep that consistent part of celebrity branding? The other thing that's very easy to do there's two other things that I'd like to talk about, and then I'll get Ash's thoughts on them, is that the perception of celebrity. You can either become a published author, you can have a podcast, you can be interviewed on TV, and public speaking, things we've talked about over the last few weeks, increases celebrity significantly. One thing that you can do very quickly, I think this is something all of our listeners can do, Ash. You can't publish a book overnight, can't start a podcast overnight, can't be interviewed overnight. You might not even insert your personality and style and look overnight. But one thing you can do overnight is work on the concept of boundaries. So one of the things that I mentioned before is that if I think about one of my, celebrities that I follow, high profile people, I know I can't just message them and get a reply. I know that I can't phone them, for example. So one of the easiest ways to start manufacturing celebrity is by limiting access to yourself. Now, this is something that goes against almost what's in the mind of every single mortgage broker out there, isn't it, Ash? Like, I've got to be the one to pick up the phone instantly, or else that partner or that client's going to go somewhere else. And it's kind of a reverse psychology, is that we've talked about this in probably lots of other podcasts, that people want what they can't have. So if you want to elevate your visibility and your status in the community, the only way to do that is by restricting access to yourself. If somebody believes they can roll up to your house tomorrow or ring you on your phone and you'll answer, that immediately reduces your status in their mind. And that's something every broker can do, is stop answering the phone straight away and stop replying to emails, basics like that. Let's talk to that, Ash, because we're probably freaking out 99% of our audience that say I can't do that.
Well, we do like to disrupt the status quo. So if you're freaking out a little bit, that's not a bad thing. Look, I learned this in part from an old mentor of mine. He called it executive desire. He goes, to be a really effective executive, you've got to make people come to you, right? And that comes from being hard to get, delaying responding. I don't respond to emails. I don't respond to phone calls. I'm hard to get, right? All of these things, I learned over time, and I now embrace it wholly, that part of being effective at that celebrity executive level is being hard to get hold of. Is it triggers in a deep human desire to have what we can't have. What do they say? People don't want to date people who want to date them. They want to date the people who don't want to date them. It's human nature. We want what we can't have, and we don't want what we can have, right? Deep down inside, that's inside all of us, and it plays out, right? So part of that is understanding, okay, can I take a couple of steps in that direction? Yes, you can. It's not about suddenly discarding everything overnight. It's about saying, okay, maybe I won't have my phone number on my website. Maybe I won't say contact me anytime. Maybe I won't return phone calls instantly. Maybe I won't answer the phone call at the table in the restaurant just because it's ringing, right? This is something that you need to develop honestly as part of your celebrity strategy, is stop being so easy to get hold of.
And it's not easy to do, because like a lot of the things we've talked about in these last 197 episodes, Ash, there's a lot of things that hold people back. Mindset, because of beliefs going back to childhood. There's a lot of poor information by the industry about how you should and should need to be. So there's a lot of roadblocks, I guess, to brokers putting these things in place. And I think unless you get the right advice and coaching and accountability to install these types of strategies, like some of the first things we do with our members, Ash, time saver, phone projects and email, like things we would consider elementary basics.
Mm.
A lot of successful brokers still haven't implemented. So they'll come to us and it's like, right, we need to get you out of your inbox. We need to get you off your phone. We need to, if you want to grow your business, you need to restrict access to you, or else how you ever think you're going to have the time to dedicate to projects and your team and doing the things that actually count. It's so counterintuitive. And I don't know if in this short episode we can crack the nut, Ash, but what would be your one liner, if you've got one, that could help our listeners overcome this fear of, no, I can't turn my phone off. I've got to answer it at night. I've got to do this. I've got to show up because otherwise that client will go elsewhere. That referral partner will send it to another broker, or any of these other fears that they have. How do we possibly try and cut through in the next 60 seconds? Because that's the number one thing holding people back to doing anything we've talked about this month.
Well, I'm gonna call it the C word, right? Now, start thinking in your minds, what might be the C word that Ash is going to go with? James has already mentioned it. And I truly believe this is at the core of the secret of success around building celebrity. Does it apply to your question? Yes, it does. Now, that C word is a very old-fashioned word. It's called consistency, right? It's the biggest mistake. It's the most important thing. I don't care who you are, what your nature is, what your success level is, your background, your culture, your gender, your personality. None of that matters if you're not consistent. If you're consistent and you show up consistently and you behave consistently, you will build celebrity status. Right? Now that applies to what you just said about learning to say no. Now, saying no is not the actual physical use of the word no. Saying no, to me, more importantly, starts with saying no to yourself. Saying no to that part of yourself that feels a very strong compulsion to respond. That's the most important no, right? Saying no to that part of yourself that goes, I've got to answer the phone, I've got to return that email, I've got to respond to that query. You start practicing the skill of saying no to yourself, right? That's where it starts, and be consistent. So consistency is the key. I really believe that's the number one takeaway, and that's what we teach our members, right? Some people are naturally showmen or show women. Most people aren't. So most people will try different things. If it doesn't work quickly, they give up on it. Building celebrity and elevating visibility is a competition built around consistency,
I
right?
love consistency.
Consistency will win over almost every other attribute.
I love it. I got a couple of final things to say, Ash, and maybe this will. I like to. I almost purposely want to ruffle some feathers, maybe, but we'll see if it ruffles some. Maybe we'll get your thoughts on it. Two things. Number one, well, the benefits to doing this are actually really good, right? If you restrict access to yourself, think of the benefits to you. You'll have more free time to focus on what's in front of you. You'll get more stuff done. You'll be more productive. Stop answering the phone and emails. It's a distraction. It's actually a benefit to your clients too, because you can focus on them more. You can work with the right people that like what you do. And when they wait in line to get to you, they will be more respectful of you and your time. And think about the benefits to the business: more productive, better clients, stickier clients, not having to do things at the last minute and bend over backwards and put out fires, which most brokers are doing. I think there's a lot of benefits to doing this. Don't you think, Ash?
100%. I'll issue the challenge right now. Any of you guys out there listening to this or watching this now or in the future, if you can find my phone number and ring me, if you can get me to answer your call, I'll give you $1,000. Right? you can get me to pick up the phone and take your call, I'll give you $1,000, because it just won't happen. One of the most powerful things I ever learnt, James, is not answering the phone and not having my phone on loud. No one's heard my phone ring in 15 years because it never rings. It's always on silent. And I never answer calls ever, unless
Yeah,
there are exceptions, family members, but these are really, really important skills for you to develop around your elevating visibility and building your celebrity status and building a culture of attraction, right? So you're pulling people towards you through attraction, not by demanding it, by saying, "Hey, I'm the first person to answer the call." I know that goes against people's natural instincts, like speed wins. Oh, if I don't take the call, somebody else will beat me to the punch.
yeah,
Very rarely will that happen, right? People want you, they'll leave a message. You know that. If they don't want you, they won't leave a message, and you shouldn't have taken the call in the first place.
100%. I love that you brought that up, and I'm the same. Like you won't find my phone number anywhere. I don't respond to emails. Now, our listeners might think, oh, but I don't want to be like that. That's rude. I want to help people. It's like, no, no, no. Like, I love helping brokers. I want to help brokers, but I also like my business to run well, and I like to have my life too. And our listeners should too. So just because I don't want to answer the phone, because I don't want to talk to people, because I don't want to answer emails, we do this podcast because we love helping people. This is how we help the whole industry and how we're able to give to so many people. Just because I won't answer the phone to every broker that wants to chew my ear, does that make me not a good person? No, I'm producing a free podcast that hundreds of thousands of people around the world can listen to. And when the right people who want my help knock on the door and are eligible to work with us, that's where we invest that personal time. So I think it's the same for our listeners. You're a broker, you've got tons of value to add. Just because you say no or put firewalls in between you and the customers doesn't make you a bad person. I got one more thing to say, and the sun is doing some weird things right into my eye off a building opposite me, but I'm going to continue anyway. So those listening to the podcast, you'll have to jump over to YouTube to see what I mean. Last thing, Ash. This is going to ruffle feathers. We're mortgage brokers. It's incredibly valuable. It's incredibly beneficial. What we do for our clients is huge, right? In helping them secure a property, get a loan, all of those things. But is it life or death? No. If you don't talk to the customer or let them wait a day, a week, or whatever, will somebody die? No. No, they won't. It's money. It's not life or death. If you're a surgeon, yes, you're on call. If somebody calls you at 4 o'clock in the morning and they need a heart bypass surgery, you get out of bed, you answer the pager, and you're at the hospital like at 100 kilometers an hour down the road. You're a mortgage broker. You are not saving lives. You are doing incredible, valuable work. You're helping people. I love what we do as brokers. It's just money. Don't overbuild what you do as a broker. And I know it sounds a bit maybe negative. What I'm trying to get at, hopefully, Ash, and hopefully our listeners get at this, is you don't need to sacrifice everything for your clients. A surgeon that saves someone's life will sacrifice their sleep. You are just dealing with money. Yes, it's important, but it's not as important as you're probably making yourself available to your clients. Does that make sense, Ash? Hopefully I've said that in the right way.
It
That
does.
gets the message over.
Oh, it does, James. It's a mindset shift, right? It's shifting your mind away from thinking, I have to be available as part of my value proposition all the time. It's just not true, right? Don't be the heart surgeon whose entire life, 24/7, is wrapped around the pager and the phone. Because if they miss that call, someone could die, right? You know, yes, it's a very fulfilling career. And if there's any heart surgeons out there listening to this, we love what you do, right? It's an incredibly important thing. But the mindset you need to have as a business owner is as a business owner, not as a mortgage broker. A business owner doesn't take every call as the phone rings. As a mortgage broker, when you're starting out day one, you probably do, right? But as a business owner, you sure as hell don't. So start thinking like a business owner.
100%. Now, I think we might leave it there, Ash. And I guess a bit of a summary of this month, we've been talking elevate visibility. And there's a lot of things we've talked about over the past few episodes. Go back and listen or watch if you haven't already, because there's a lot to this, and we hope that it cuts through and resonates with a lot of our listeners because it's a key element. So go back and listen to them. Next month, we'll be talking about a different subject again, which I'm excited about, and you'll find out what that is next week. Any final words, Ash?
We clock over 200 next month.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. There you go. Something maybe special coming for the 200. Have to wait and see. Have an awesome week, Ash. Listeners, stay cool, and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, likewise, James. You too.
Bye, everybody.